People think you need to be an entrepreneur to get rich, but most millionaires never built a business. They use their 9 to 5, the right habits, and consistent investing over time to get rich. I know this because I walked away from my first job after 18 years with a 7-figure portfolio. Your job can be the most powerful building tool you have if you use it the right way. So in this video, I am going to walk you through the 7 steps that I use to build my own portfolio. Let's get into it. Step number 1, increase your salary. If you want to build wealth with a regular job, the first thing you need to do, or you want to do, is to increase your salary. As far as I know, there's only 2 ways you can do this. The first one is to ask for a raise. That is it. Here's the part that most people get wrong. Before you ever ask for a raise, talk to your manager and ask this question. What would I need to do to become a top performer on this team? Get clarity, get the exact expectations, understand what top performer actually means in your department, in your team. Now, once you have that list, go and do it. Execute. Become the person they said would get rewarded. And while you're doing that work, make sure you document everything. Track your accomplishments. Track the value that you created. Track the results that you deliver. If you do this, you're no longer asking for random raises. You are presenting your impact and you're asking for compensation that matches your performance. This is how professionals grow their income. Now, pay attention. If your company refuses to pay you fairly after you prove your value, that is when you're gonna take the next step, and that is to change jobs. That's right, change your job. If you're not getting compensated the way you should, it's best to look for a new place. By the way, the fastest and the biggest jumps in salary often come from moving from one job to the next, to a place that recognizes your value. Now, after you maximize your earning opportunities, which could be through raises every year, or by changing jobs, or even starting a side hustle, a business, you're gonna take the next step. Step number 2, leverage your employee benefits. Now, most 9 to 5 workers never maximize the benefits their job gives them. And this is one mistake that may keep them broke. These benefits were the foundation of my 7-figure portfolio. And most people do not even understand how powerful they are. Here's the exact order I follow. First, take the full 401k match. Now, this is the easiest wealth building move you will ever make. It is free money. It is also instant growth. Now, as far as I know, no investment will guarantee you a return like that. Second is to fund your Roth IRA or your HSA if you have one. Open up a Roth IRA because this is one of the best things that happen in this country, at least if you live in the US. This thing will grow tax-free for the rest of your life. And your HSA, if you happen to have one, if your employer offers one, it's literally the only account in the country, that is in the USA, with triple tax benefits. Why is that? Because HSA has tax-free withdrawals and tax-free gains reach a certain level. Now, by the way, fun fact, don't make the mistake that I made many years ago. I used to have an HSA and I didn't know what an HSA was and how it worked. So I contributed consistently every month and I was super happy because it kept growing. The thing I never realized that even though it was growing, I never pay attention to the fact that I was not investing the money that was in that HSA. So guess what happened after 10 years? Maybe it was 5, I don't remember. It did not grow at all. Don't make that mistake. If you have a 401k, a Roth IRA, or an HSA, make sure you pick the contributions that you're going to make, but you also pick the investments. Otherwise, that money does not get invested. It just sits there as cash. Even if you cannot max them out, contribute something. Now, the third thing is to use your employee stock purchase plan if the discount is real and the company is solid. Now, at one of my previous companies, I received a 10% discount on the stock. That means that I basically made 10% on day one. But this only works if the company is stable and growing. Fourth is to invest in a brokerage account. This is where your long-term wealth accelerates. It also gives you flexibility and access to money long before you hit that retirement age of 59 and a half. The advantage of using your benefits in this order is that you're not guessing. You're following a proven plan that is designed for real people to build real wealth. Step number 3, contribute consistently. Now that you know where to invest, or at least have some idea, the next step is to be consistent. Most people invest based on emotions. Maybe they invest 1 month, they skip the next, panic during a market drop, and then they start again later, and then they wonder why nothing grows. In my experience, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a new investor is to try to time the market. Instead, what I recommend is to invest every single month the same amount, whether the market is down or up. And so every time I got paid, money went straight to my 401k, my Roth IRA, and my employee stock purchase plan. I was not relying on motivation. I was building a habit. You see, when you invest consistently, you buy during the lows and during the highs as well. And that removes emotion and lets compounding interest work for you. Money rewards discipline. And the best way to stay disciplined is to automate everything. And that takes us into step number 4. Step number 4, build systems that run without you. This step is really the reason I built a 7-figure portfolio with a regular 9 to 5. And you can use this to your advantage because this helps you to not rely on discipline, even though discipline is important. You automate everything to give yourself structure. So the moment my paycheck arrived at my checking account, it was immediately divided. My 401k, my stock plan, and my Roth IRA were funded before I even saw any of that money. Whatever was left became my budget. Now, most people try to save and invest with willpower, but willpower fades. A system does not. A system saves you even when you do not feel like saving. A system allows you to invest even when the market is pretty scary. When things are going down, guess what? You won't even look. The system is doing all the work for you. And that's the thing I learned over time, is that the system or a system will help you invest consistently over a long period of time so that you can see the magic of compounding interest take over. Believe me, once your system is running, wealth becomes automatic. By the way, I want to take this back to step number 1, which was to increase your salary, to increase your income. Because when your income goes up, a new challenge emerges. That is why we have step number 5. Step number 5, avoid lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep destroys more wealth than bad investments ever will. See, when your income goes up, the temptation is to upgrade your lifestyle. A new car, nicer apartment, better vacations. Unfortunately, like many people, I made this mistake in my career. Early in my career, after my first promotion. And that slowed me down for years. What did I do after my first promotion? I got a nicer apartment and I got a brand new car, even though the car that I had was fine. Don't make that mistake. Wealth is created in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Here's what happens. If that gap grows, then you become rich, or at least you have the opportunity to use that difference, that gap, and invest or save. But if that gap stays the same, then nothing changes. And if the gap shrinks, then you move backwards. So what did I do? I had my system running, and then I kept my lifestyle steady, and I let my investments grow. And this is when your net worth starts taking off. You just give yourself some time, let compounding interest work, and your net worth will automatically increase over time. But you have to avoid lifestyle creep, because when that happens, when you have that habit of increasing your lifestyle, every time you get a pay increase, guess what happens? You get paid more, you spend more. You get paid more, you spend more. So you'll never be able to build wealth, and you'll likely live paycheck to paycheck. Or at least you'll feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, because you are. The next step, which could be the first step, is to eliminate high interest debt. Debt is the enemy of wealth. I know that some people will say, well, I leverage debt. If you want to build wealth quickly, get rid of your credit card debt. It is practically impossible to build wealth while paying 20 to 25% interest. And it does not matter how well you invest your money if it's leaking out faster on the other side. Now, in my early years when I had credit card debt, I treated paying off debt like an emergency. And I used the snowball method, or maybe it was the avalanche method, whatever the name is. I lined up the few credit cards that I had, and I said, okay, which one has the highest interest? Let me attack that first. Other people recommend to use the snowball method, where you list all your debts and then you start paying the one with the smallest balance. And that gives you some sort of boost. It makes you feel like you're making progress. So either method will get the job done. Once I became debt free, I made a rule for myself, and I recommend that you use this rule. Never carry a balance in your credit card again. Now, some people will recommend not using credit cards at all. Look, there's a lot of people that will also tell you not to ever have a drink. Well, I'm not one of those people. I do recommend using credit cards if you have the discipline to pay the balance every single month. And that leads us to the next step. Step 7 is play the long game. Most people never build wealth because they quit too soon. They want results fast. They want shortcuts. They want the perfect investment, the perfect investment strategy. Well, I can tell you from experience that wealth does not work that way. I built a 7-figure portfolio because I stay in the game for the long run. I invested through market crashes like the 2008 market crash, COVID, you name it. I also invested through job changes. I invested through fear and uncertainty. I stayed consistent long enough for compounding interest to do what it does. See, you do not need to be perfect. You need to be persistent and consistent, because your 9 to 5 can make you a millionaire, but only if you give it time, because time multiplies your effort more than anything else. These are the 7 habits I used to become a millionaire with a regular job. Nothing here requires luck or genius. It just requires discipline, structure, and time. And if you want to see exactly how I automated everything, watch this next video where I break down the full system I used to build a 7-figure portfolio with my 9 to 5, so you can start building your own.